Today on the Nerdy Gritty, with Bethesda's recent fall from grace, we talk about the unique relationship between the gaming industry and the gaming community.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I'm Dez.
And I'm Fox.
Fox, some weird things have been happening recently.
Would they be stranger things? Or?
On the old Kickstarter. First of all, we kicked a starter again.
Yeah. One that it's the most excited I am for a Kickstarter.
Oh my gosh,
that we've done.
I'm just eyeballing the estimated May 2020 for delivery, and I'm like, I want it now.
It's my board game, and I want it now. We kickstarted the Bloodborne board game.
It's coming.
Say that 12 times fast.
Bloodborne board game, Bloodborne board game, Bloodborne board game, Bloodborne.
Stop. You did it. Good job.
But it's coming with around 110 miniatures.
119, I think, is the final.
119 miniatures.
Yeah, which is, like, honestly, since I've gotten into painting miniatures, there have been games that I'm like, I want to get that so I can paint those miniatures.
Exactly.
I don't even care about playing
the game looks, actually, I watched all the rules. The game seems really cool.
It seems good, yeah.
It's another one that can be played solo, which is something that I like.
That's a typical thing now.
Yeah.
Like, if your game can't, then it's like, then you're just playing Monopoly or something.
It comes with its own scenarios and things like that.
Right, yeah.
And so it's super cool, and I'm really excited for it. But at a less than $1 a miniature, some of them have miniature in quotation marks.
They're quote unquote big. They're basically bigatures.
They're still like 12 inches tall or
they're
whatever.
ridiculous, yeah.
And they're just the most beautiful designs.
We're gonna have to fight over who gets to paint what.
Yeah, but with all of that, it came up recently in another podcast I listened to called the Free Play Podcast. Go listen to the Free Play Podcast. Good podcast. Just Kickstarter has been suspending campaigns. Thank you.
Yeah. Even after they've been funded.
Even after they've been totally funded.
Right.
And it's been a weird thing. Their conversation is Kickstarter killing creativity? And I think that was kind of a clickbaity title.
No,
but the whole point that they were saying is, if you are a company that you pretty much do things only via Kickstarter, like that's how you've built like a fan base.
There are board game companies that just now do that exclusively.
Right, because you've built a fan base, you've built trust, and now you don't want to ever go through a publisher anymore.
Yeah, it saves them money.
Yeah, and so now all they do is just make sure that they can get funding from fans. Right. And so they'll run a Kickstarter, a campaign every once in a while, several times.
Or you're like, I guess it's Come On, basically. It's CMON. Who made the Bloodborne game. That's like their 37th campaign.
Right.
They have multiple going every year.
But now there's been a few that fully funded, things going well. There was a game that was funded in like 4 days.
Yeah.
Fully funded.
Yeah.
And then Kickstarter suspended the campaign.
Yeah. Or even the article you sent me was about a cheese maker.
Yeah.
Like an automated cheese maker. You just put in the ingredients and it makes it. And it was funded in 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then it was suspended. And I looked at several articles about board games as well.
Right.
And there's the problem that a lot of people are having is that they don't know why.
Anyway, Fox, so we actually had a pre-conversation that we both have a lot to say.
I did some things this week.
And I did some things this week as well.
Yeah, so what'd you get into?
I'll go ahead and start. I got a lot of things going on, but the first thing I want to talk about is Pamali.
Say that again? Oh, is that game? Okay.
Yeah. So it's a Pamali, but with an Indonesian accent. So
sure.
Pamali.
Okay.
And Pamali is an Indonesian folklore horror game.
Nice.
It's an indie game that's all based in Indonesian folklore.
Okay.
And
that makes sense based on what you just said.
Right. And so I immediately was interested just for the culture of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all about that.
What was that other game that was based in Mexico?
Mulaka.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, exactly like that. And so I really, really was wanted to play it exclusively for the folklore of it and just to learn about the culture as well. And so I got the game. It was on sale for $4 on Steam, which is a steal. For as much as I have played so far, which is about 1 hour of it, easily worth $4 already, like without question. The game could be garbage from this point on, and I would not regret the $4.
There's a reason why Steam has its place in the industry that it does.
Right.
You can get $4 games that are worth way more than that.
Yeah, this is, to me, thus far, if the game continues like this with the amount of content that's in there, it's a $20 game easy.
Nice. All right.
Easy. So,
cool.
What about you, man?
Well, I have recently actually gotten into like carpentry.
Uh-huh.
Like more like architecture, I guess. I'm building like this like structure
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
which I'm placing things that I'm really good at, that I really enjoy.
Okay.
I'm calling it a wheelhouse.
Ah.
And you know what? There's a place in there for a lot of things, but there is not a place for Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. That game is definitely not in my wheelhouse. That was the joke that I tried telling my wife, and she said it was terrible, and I said, "You don't know comedy. I'm going to tell it anyway." And I think it landed well. But
I think it's more funny because I was prepared for it because your
You knew-
wife warned me
Yes,
about it
she did.
yesterday. She said, you got to tell me about, just let me know what you think about the joke. And
it's
I'm
a
like,
great joke.
is this how jokes work?
You laughed. You laughed. It doesn't matter.
I have watched a lot of movies.
Yeah, because you don't have a job anymore, you lazy millennial.
I also stepped down. I stepped down from my position as youth pastor of the church, and that was like 2 days ago. Though, not even technically, it happened last night.
right.
Like was the official.
Like
So
8,
anyway,
7:30.
yeah. But no, because my wife and I have run out of all of the seasons of our shows, so we've just been watching a movie a night, different movie
Sure.
a night, and oh man, so I'm gonna kind of hit through all of the things that I've watched.
Okay.
So. The Girl Caught in the Spider's Web,
Yep.
sequel to the
Oh, you
Girl
watched
with
the
the Dragon
sequel
Tattoo.
with the different actress.
Right. Tomb Raider with
The new one.
with Alicia Vikander.
Yep.
Megamind.
Never seen it.
Beauty and the Beast, the 2017 one,
Okay.
and Pacific Rim Uprising.
Okay.
So
Seen most of those.
ones that I have seen before were Beauty and the Beast and Megamind.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can say is Beauty and the Beast, man, Emma Watson was not the right casting for that.
Yeah.
She just wasn't.
She's a fine singer and a fine actress, I think.
What was tough about Emma Watson, among other things, is that
She's always Hermione.
when she I've seen, to me she's grown out of
In
that.
this, I think she was Hermione,
But when she holds a note, you can clearly tell it's been auto-tuned. Megamind, the other one that I've seen again, just hilarious. It's like a typical animated movie. It's like a 7 out of 10.
Sure.
But I mean, Will Ferrell, Liz Lemon, Tina Fey, Will Ferrell, Tina Fey, Brad
Pitt in
Pitt,
that? Yeah.
Jonah Hill, like a ton of great voice actors in there.
DreamWorks.
It's hilarious.
Okay,
It's
great.
hilarious. Go
I
watch
haven't- I haven't
Megamind,
seen it.
everybody. So, before I keep going about my movies, I'll pass back over to you. Go ahead.
Okay. I also watched 2 movies,
All right.
both that I've seen before, but just as like, or what was I doing? I was cataloging my comic books because that's what I spend a lot of time doing right
nice.
now. But I watched Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, and The Matrix.
All
Two
right.
very similar movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I usually watch those in
Twins.
that order.
Yeah,
Here's the thing, man. The Matrix, one of the greatest movies of all time.
it is very good.
It's
really good.
It is like, and I say that non-sarcastically. I say that I am not saying that ironically. Austin Powers, also so good. Obviously not a quality like
right.
classic film.
Yeah.
But as far as parody goes, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent parody.
All right.
You
I'll-
do.
I'll say
There are
this-
very few jokes in that movie where you need to have seen a specific movie to get it.
But you also understand exactly what.
But you also
referencing.
understand exactly what's happening because
Yeah.
of the genre of the gentleman spy thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that
No.
to me, that is a huge mark of quality in the parody genre.
So, Girl Caught in the Spider's Web was the sequel.
Wait, hold on. Spoilers. Does she get out of the spider's web?
Yes,
Oh, good.
she does.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
actually, it.
Does she have the light of Elendil? And...
The first one was this movie that was more about like mystery and intrigue, and then this girl, the girl with the dragon tattoo, I can't remember her name, Lisbeth
Elizabeth
Salander, yeah. Lisbeth is like this damaged person
Yes.
that is deeply flawed, but because of her flaws she's able to do stuff, and like they actually show the damage that she receives. They show her being raped. They show
it's rough.
it's really rough.
Whereas the second one,
She's like action hero.
she's
person,
a superhero.
and
Yeah,
that's it.
I haven't seen it, but I've watched reviews, and even from the trailers, could tell there's a difference.
It's dumb.
Yes.
The Tomb Raider movie was not great. Also, it was fine.
It's the best Tomb Raider movie.
It's the best. Well, see, I don't even know if I would say that.
Really?
Yeah, because the first Tomb Raider movie with Angelina Jolie is very 90s. It's very 90s.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
the first one is a fun adventure romp.
Here's what I'll say. The second one we can agree is bad.
Bad.
It's just a dumb movie. The first Angelina Jolie and this Alicia Vikander one are very good adaptations of the different eras of Tomb Raider.
Yes. And then I pretty much felt the same way about Pacific Rim Uprising.
Yeah, that was disappointing.
It was a very bland, action-y movie.
It was essentially the same movie again.
But not as good.
But not as over the top like the first one.
Right.
The first one was Guillermo del Toro, and he knows exactly how to hit the tone of a movie that he should.
Right.
Where most of his movies are about ridiculous things. Giant robots or Hellboy or whatever.
Literally, when the movie ended, I said, and that's what happens when Guillermo del Toro is only the producer of your movie, when he's not more involved in it.
Yep. Remember The Hobbit? You see, like, it would have been so much more interesting if Guillermo del Toro was part of it. But nope. Let's give it back to the other guy. Yeah. I still look forward to the eventual King Kong versus Godzilla versus Pacific Rim because they're all Legendary Pictures movies and they have been setting it up.
They were for sure setting up King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, because at the end of the King Kong movie, there's like cave paintings that show the Titans and
which
stuff.
is crazy to me because here's what I want to know. At the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, when Godzilla wins and destroys all the other Titans.
Or the bad ones, at least.
How in the crap is King Kong going to compare with that?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
He's Big Monkey.
No, they'll make it like a movie from the past, like in 1920s.
All right.
Make it a period piece where they fight each other, and it's an isolated thing that the world never knew about.
Anything else for you? Because I have one more thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, I've been playing Rage 2.
Yeah.
I played about an hour and a half of it. And it basically gets the same review as Days Gone does for me, where it's fine. It's pretty fun, actually. It's just not great. It kind of just feels like a by the numbers open world action game. I do enjoy this more because the combat is incredibly fun.
That's good. Yeah.
It's a game I'll platinum and never play again.
On that note of the ringing out all the stuff that it has of it, other than there's now 1 versus 1 multiplayer mode, which I really want to do.
All right. How many times have you beaten?
I'm pretty sure I'm done with the world next door.
Yeah.
And frustratingly so.
Okay. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Like I'm upset with it now.
You did put yourself through it like 5 times or whatever.
Because it boasts something that is not accurate.
It's not really there.
There are no alternate endings.
Yeah.
You cannot end any other way. So yeah, I'm really disappointed with the world next door.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I think that's all I've got.
Okay. Now that we've rambled on for a long time, let's get down to the nerdy gritty.
But first, we're going to talk to you guys just real quick here about our Patreon. Patreon.com/dezandfox, where if you are enjoying this podcast so far, just know that you are probably listening to it, unless you already know about this, listening to what we call the short version.
Right.
Where we take our conversation, the first half of our show, and basically shrink it up. We cut out a lot of it, make it a little shorter. We'll give you our, quick synopsis or review of a thing, and then we'll move on real quick. But we talk a lot more. If there's something we're good at, it's talking about things that only we care about. But if you are actually somebody who cares about them too, then know that if you go to our Patreon and become a tier 2 or tier 3 patron, then you will gain access to the director's cut. That will give you the full conversation we have at the front of the show. Also know that our second half, what we're going to get into right after this, that never gets shortened. That's really what we talk about. That's the interesting part for us, is getting into the nerdy gritty of what's going on in the gaming industry or whatever. And so know that you're not missing anything out of that. We don't want to put a paywall behind or in front of that conversation.
Right, absolutely.
But if you are able to support us, we would love to have you go to our Patreon. You'll also gain access to some exclusive videos. We recently played a game called Siege.
Storm, Siege Mode.
a game we kickstarted actually, and we have a couple videos up there of that are exclusive. And then I do some like demos for games that are on there exclusively. We're looking into getting in even more up there. I want to put actual entire playthroughs up there.
Yep.
Considering doing my entire playthrough of Final Fantasy X, one of my favorite games of all time, being an exclusive on our Patreon. So if you want to see more from Dez and Fox, as everybody does, as we all know,
absolutely,
go ahead and go to patreon.com/dezandfox.
Yep, and remember, if you want to listen to the unedited version of this, it's tier 2 or tier 3.
Yep.
But if you just want that exclusive content, even our $1 a month, $12 a year first tier is right there for all that exclusive content.
Absolutely.
So, in recent months, Bethesda has been making a lot of really poor decisions.
Yeah. Some of them baffling.
In a lot of ways. Yeah, some of them really dumb. So there's things like Fallout 76 was not great.
Yeah, but Bethesda is it's Bethesda Softworks. They are a video game developer and publisher. They have, just to give you some background here, if you don't really know who they are, they have kind of dominated a lot of the video game industry for a while. They've been up there in the upper echelons of the companies that people love. Mainly because they put out quality pieces of art. The Fallout series, the Elder Scrolls series, they publish a lot of great things. Like Doom was published by them. Like they were huge, and they took time and effort and put quality work into a quality product.
And it would be years in between games.
Yeah, and people would be perfectly fine with it.
They did not want to
the last
rush
Elder
anything.
Scrolls, the last full Elder Scrolls came out 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
And people are still on the edge of their seat wanting to play the next one and still playing the last one.
They're still playing the last one, which is huge to me.
It just got ported to the Nintendo Switch last year.
Right.
So, all that to say is that they have basically fallen into a pretty opposite reputation.
Right.
We are part of a Facebook group of gamers that kind of talk about industry stuff and just kind of the community. And a lot of them are not fans. We'll put it lightly.
Nearly comparing them to EA,
yes,
which is the level of vitriol that is going on right now.
The main reasons why this has happened, as you mentioned, Fallout 76, which was announced last year at E3 and then came out a couple months later in November, was their first attempt at an MMO. Now, it had a bit of a spin on it. It was pretty limited in how many, it was a different type of MMO than most. Right. But largely, it was a pretty big failure.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, both in the quality of the game and also people felt lied to.
Yes.
They made promises that
did not,
of things that would be in the game, as well as just other things like pre-order bonuses.
I think it's fair to say that they were lied to.
They were lied to. Yes. I don't want to say let's not mince words.
They didn't just feel
they were lied to by the company.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge deal for people.
Yeah.
People were not a fan of that. And then Blades came out, which is a mobile game, and this one really isn't the same level. It's just not a great game.
Yeah.
And by not a great game, it's just a standard it feels like a cash grab mobile game.
It is. It very much feels like that.
And then, as well as just a little thing, but also why was recently they put out a D20 tabletop gaming module that was found to just be basically a straight plagiarized version of an official D&D Wizards of the Coast module.
Yeah, they just subtracted
it's
D&D
again Mad Libs.
Yeah,
it's you're not in this desert, you're in the desert of elsewhere instead.
Right.
And
Forgotten Realms. They subtracted Forgotten Realms stuff and instead
plugged
in Tamriel stuff. Yeah. And then other than that, it was pretty identical.
Yeah, and shockingly so, bafflingly so. This was either on purpose or your QA did not do their job here. And so all of these things have kind of come up to this point where people just don't like Bethesda.
Right.
They've been, and I understand it. I got Fallout 76 and I played it for a couple hours and I was like, I'm not in on this.
Right. Right.
And so we want to talk about today, not just Bethesda, but just kind of how they represent something interesting about the gaming community and the gaming industry and the relationship that we have. because it's a little unique when compared to other forms of art.
Yeah, because when we have things like clothes or whatever else, it's pretty rare that, you know, Louis Vuitton or whoever else is going to be like, okay, here are the type of clothes I'm going to come out with. And then he comes out with something different. And now all of a sudden everybody's mad at him
Sure,
or things like
yeah.
that. Like that's just not something that goes on. Gamers feel like we have a relationship with developers and publishers, and there are things that can hurt that relationship.
Yes.
It's not just consumer and creator. There is an actual relationship there.
Yeah, and it's even different to make another comparison. Like if let's go with the Sonic movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can come out with a bad Sonic movie, and I don't think people are gonna like feel betrayed by whatever company is making it.
Right.
It's just a bad Sonic movie.
They'll be disappointed.
They'll be disappointed.
Frustrated. But you know what's not going to happen? They're not going to denounce Sega for it.
Yeah, they're not going to review bomb other movies made by that company.
Right.
And, you know, there's a different relationship that we have with gaming companies specifically.
So, again, to put it in metaphor, it's almost like you have a friend and that friend lies to you. And then you go to your other friends and you say things like, hey, be careful, this guy, he is a liar. That doesn't really happen with movies or whatever else, but with video game companies, that's kind of what review bombing is. You're going to other games
Right.
that person makes and saying, hey, look at this other game. They have made a bad game over there.
Right.
And so I'm also going to
boycott
review
this
bomb
company because they made a bad game.
And so what is it with this relationship that like how does this come? Why does this exist? How can both fans and gaming companies be aware of this and utilize this in good ways even? So let's talk about that first part. Why do you think that gaming exclusively creates this relationship between a consumer and creator?
I'm right off the bat, I want to say it largely happens because of the time and passion we put into the products they make. I can go watch a crappy Sonic movie that takes an hour and 45 minutes from my life and laugh at it and say, wow, that was a crappy movie, and then just move on. Done. That was bad. It looked bad and it was bad. But and I paid $12 to see it.
Right.
At max. I think actual national average of a movie ticket is like $9.50 or something like that. I can, you know, so I pay $10 to see that movie. You know, I get it. There's bad movies. But if I'm paying 6 times that to play Fallout 76 and then put hours and hours and hours of my life into it to try to get what I want out of it, and it just doesn't have, like, this is a passion of mine. This is more than just like a time waster or an entertainment thing. This is a hobby that I put time and money into, and then to be lied to, I just feel like I'm owed something now, or the company betrayed me.
Yeah, I would actually agree with a lot of you said and just reward it. I'd say it's because of both the investment that we put into it and that we plan on putting into it.
Yeah.
There is an amount of investment that we have that makes a really big difference on the way we experience video gaming compared to anything else. So the closest comparison that I can say would be the Marvel movies.
Okay.
Because people have invested, 20 movies at an average of 2.5 hours a piece, let's say. So that's going to be like, what,
50 hours.
50 hours?
Say 50 hours.
50 hours of content right there. If Endgame was just objectively bad.
Yeah, if it was just garbage.
It was just hot garbage, and it did not deliver on some of the things they planned on. It wasn't really about Infinity Stones, or they didn't, spoiler alert, small spoiler alert, they didn't bring everybody back.
Right.
Or things like that. And it just didn't deliver on some promises or whatever, then I think a lot of people would be upset with Marvel for it.
Yeah.
Because we have put an extended investment into that. Now, let's take that 50 hours of investment in characters, investment in creation, And let's multiply that. I mean, 50 hours for Skyrim means you've just started for Bethesda.
You're done with. You've created your character.
Right, exactly.
Now you got to get out of that Helgen or whatever the town is.
The dragon just came in that very first part, or whatever. And
or
so,
if you're playing it the way the developers intended, Thomas the Tank Engine.
yes, absolutely. It's a mod where the dragons become tank
It's the
engines,
greatest thing in the
and
world.
like in the distance, you'll hear choo choo, and then the doo 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 doo, like the music starts coming in and everything. Oh, it's so good.
And then they will breathe fire and murder you
Right,
with a smile on
absolutely.
his face.
So, so I was just thinking of some of the screenshots
Yeah,
of
it's
like
so funny.
the grinning Thomas just soaring in.
Breathing fire.
But this investment that we put into it is not just an investment of an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's so much of our time and our care and our heart go into these things. And for movies, it's just a sitting experience. It's a sitting and watching. Where with video games, there's an amount of interactivity that comes with it that brings even more of an investment. And when you are prepared to invest that much, to be let down by that investment,
Right.
to be betrayed in that investment,
Yeah.
it's a much bigger deal.
Yeah, it's kind of like a potential. Like I was so ready to put my whole life into this game, play it hundreds of hours. Now I don't want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it feels worse than that movie was bad, you know?
It's like having a canceled vacation.
There you go.
It's so disappointing and so frustrating. And then to have that like disappointment carried and be able to aim that directly at blame at one person for one reason, then yeah, I can absolutely see that relationship being something that people are offended about. Then on the flip side, people who continue to deliver like CD Projekt Red or Naughty Dog, who continually deliver, we gain this trust of them and this love for them that we have a fandom, you know, in a
I'm
great
going to
way.
support. I am going to get the collector's edition of Cyberpunk 2077, even though I don't know if that's going to be a good game or not.
Absolutely.
Because I love what they have done and want to support what they do for the gaming industry.
Like Rockstar is a good example of this because Red Dead Redemption 2 just came out, and the versions that you could buy of that, like the big extended whatever
real
fancy
big
version, but people bought that because there was a trust of Rockstar to deliver, and they delivered another very, very good game.
They really did, yeah.
But then Red Dead Online is kind of stumbling. And you know what's going to happen? Next time Rockstar wants to come out with an online thing, everybody's going to think twice.
They're going to be pretty gun shy about it.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh.
But once they come out with another single player experience, everyone's going to jump right on board.
Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yep.
It's going to make $10 billion.
Everybody's going to be ready for it immediately.
Yes.
And so at that point, we have this established trust with a company, again, not just for their product being good, but for an experience, for an investment that we have. And when you can trust somebody with your investment, that's a lot better than just trusting somebody with a product.
Right.
Much different thing.
Yeah, there's also just like this expectation of a level of quality. I mean, we kind of talked about this, but Bethesda, I don't want to harp on them. I mean, yeah, whatever. But Bethesda has made quality games for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
They revolutionized. I mean, they didn't invent the open world. That was mostly Rockstar, actually. But, like, Morrowind revolutionized the world. Oblivion was a huge deal. Skyrim was a huge deal. Fallout 3 was their first one in the Fallout series. Huge deal. Fallout 4, people loved. New Vegas, they had kind of a hand in. That was mostly developed by different company. But I forget what they're called. But, like, they have had this pedigree of an expectation that then they let people down. That's not even to mention, and this is all, like, you can put all of that aside and say, well, it's a bad game. It sucks. You could put that aside. I don't think you should, because there's all we've talked about. But then on top of that, they made claims about this game that they were coming out with that turned out to be false.
Yeah.
At the very base, like some of the pre-order bonuses, like a bag that was supposed to be canvas was made of like nylon.
Vinyl or something.
Yeah, vinyl or something.
And it was not
it's
even
like,
close.
That you're like, it's just a bag, but it's like a what's the word I'm looking for? Microcosm of the issue, where it's like, no. You told me that I was going to be getting this, and then you gave me not that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that bag represented all of Fallout 76.
Yeah.
You said I was going to get this, and it is a much more disappointing version of what you said it was going to be.
It's No Man's Sky all over again.
Absolutely.
No Man's Sky from the start said you will play with your friends in this entire universe and all these things, and it took them several years to be able to actually play multiplayer.
Right.
And it was just like, yeah, sure, the game had flaws aside from that, but if you tell us something is going to be in your game and then you don't put that in your game, you are now lying to your audience.
Absolutely.
And that is a greater sin to me than making a bad game. Bad games come and go, I don't care, but if you are lying to the people who are investing their time and money into what you're creating, then you deserve
and the difference
anything that comes to you.
even there is that gosh, who made No Man's Sky?
It was Hello Games.
Hello Games, thank you. I was thinking Smiley Games, so that's not it. But Hello Games. We didn't have any established trust with them. And so when that game came out, that game came out, it was disappointing and people were frustrated.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, well, man, now Hello Games has got a lot of work to do to regain trust.
Right.
Bethesda, we had like an established trust with.
Like we said, they were on top.
They were on top. You and I still rave about Bethesda game days at PAX.
Yeah, that was
and
a
the
great,
way that
was
they
a great
treated
time.
their consumers with such love and like with such acceptance. And then for them to stumble like this, it hurts almost in a way that a friend betrayed you.
Yeah.
You know, almost in a similar way.
It feels personal.
It does.
Yeah.
So we've kind of talked about why and why we think this even happens. How can we as consumers, I don't want to use the words leverage this. It feels bad to say leverage because, again, they feel like friends. Like we don't want to leverage on our friends here. But how can we as consumers use this to help create better art, create better games? And how can the creators also use this to communicate better or whatever else? Like, how can this be something that the game community can use to better the game community?
I right off the bat, I just want to say, take a step back. There's, and this is a weird comparison to make, but we talk about this. It's a biblical concept, guarding your heart.
Oh yeah,
where it's emotional investment can be dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to at the end of the day, I know we talk about how the gaming industry and video games are art. They are emotionally worthy to put your time and effort. Like they're worthy of putting your time and effort and getting to know these characters and all these things. But at the end of the day, they are video games.
Yeah, yeah.
They should not be core to your existence or core to your emotional well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say, well, then don't care about them at all, because it's an art form. Like that's part of it. But take a step back, guys. It's okay for a game to be bad. It's how it goes. The games can be bad. You don't need to then decide I'm boycotting a company forever. They're terrible. This guy's a liar. I'm gonna sue. Like, I feel like we are quick to hyperbole,
and
in the community.
A lot of it becomes at that point vitriol against one another because, you know, they made a bad game and somebody was like, it might be like, you know what, I still am trusting Bethesda. Other people will come down on them.
Yeah.
They'll say like, oh, you're an idiot, or oh, how dare you, or oh, you must just be a patsy for Bethesda or whatever.
Yeah.
Or all this other stuff, when at the end of the day, we should be able to just be like, yeah, but not me.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one.
Yeah, this isn't like politics. This isn't the way we run our country.
This happens a lot in specifically like the Marvel versus DC movie.
Right.
Like, if you like a Marvel movie, then you're a mouth breathing fanboy, and like, you know, if you are a DC fan, then you see these people this way, and like, no, it's just like you like a movie or not. Obviously, you can debate whether something is good. That's a thing.
We exist on that.
Yeah, that is kind of what we do.
Yeah.
But to what's the word I'm looking for? To equate somebody's opinion on a piece of art or their willingness to support the next one from that company with the quality of their character. It sounds ridiculous, but it happens.
It happens a lot.
It absolutely happens. I think Sea of Thieves was a little bit of this, where a lot of people hated that game, but a lot of people were invested in the game because it's one of the few Microsoft Xbox exclusives, and so they had this interest in it being a great game, aside from just whether or not they liked it, but because they were, and so they saw people who said, "Nah, I didn't really like it that much," as people that were their enemy now. And that's a problem. Yeah. That's a real problem.
So I think I wholeheartedly agree with you, just saying take a step back.
Take a step back, look at why you are debating somebody on something or how you're interacting with people. Is it just, oh no, I think I disagree with what they said and I want to make my point? Or is it, are you getting too invested in this thing that at the end of the day is a video game?
On the flip side, I would say that from the side of the creators, I would say recognize it and try to treat us like your friends and not your consumers. Yeah. And by that, what I mean is, if you are if you're a business and you make a mistake, apologies are, especially like pre-written ones, aren't that great.
Yes.
They're not going to work really well. Hey, be honest. Just come out like, again, if you are Nike and something bad happens, you come out with a statement and people point to the statement. They're like, sure, whatever, you're Nike. But if you're Bethesda and you try and come out with a blanket statement, it's going to seem hollow. It's going to seem heartless. Yes. It's not going to work. Where if, Todd Howard comes out and he goes, hey guys, here's what I want to tell you. We had some ideas, we had some things, and we fell short. I'm admitting it, and we're sorry about that. We really are. Yeah. But with our next couple of things, we're going to make sure that we aren't going to do that again. So here are some things we put in, like a genuine apology, as if you were sitting down and talking to a friend.
Right.
Would make a world of difference for the gaming community. It really would. This is something that Nintendo has done for a long time already. And that's why Nintendo has endeared people so much. Reggie Fils-Aimé has never come out on stage as a businessman. He's felt like our big brother, our video game big brother. And he always felt like that. And the way that he has talked and joked and goofed, and his goodbye to the gaming community was so heartfelt, and he looked directly in the camera and he again spoke from his heart, and it was probably a pre-written thing, but he delivered it really well. And all of these things really communicated, hey, we're not just a video game company and you're not just buying our product. We recognize, Nintendo recognizes, we have a relationship with you guys. Yeah. We understand that. And we want to honor that relationship whenever they talk about things. So Nintendo's announcements are always very great. That's why we get hyped about things so easily for Nintendo. That's why they can show the picture for Metroid Prime 4 and people think they won E3 on that back when Nintendo used to do E3. It's
literally a picture of a logo.
Yeah, and people are like, "Oh, that's it. Nintendo wins," because we have so much trust that they have held up, and because they treat us like people they care about.
Sure. Yeah, a pre-written statement that we don't want to hear from the head of your HR. No. Or not your HR, your PR.
Right.
We don't want to hear from your PR department.
We don't want to have to hear from the head of your HR. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's a big problem. It's a problem in the industry also, but that's not what we're talking about today. We want to hear from Todd Howard. Yeah. We know who that guy is. We know the investment he puts into his games. And also, here's the thing. We know it's bad.
Yes. You're not deaf. We know you're not deaf. We're not blind. Yeah. You know this is an issue.
Yeah.
Your silence says as much as anything you could say.
It really does. We don't want to hear the phrase, we've listened to our fans, and we are going to... No, that says, oh, okay, you guys think it was bad? I guess we'll try to change it so that you'll spend money again. No, it's bad. You know you did wrong. Fix it. Do it better.
It was really communicated in last year's E3 with Microsoft.
Yes.
Because for years, Microsoft has come out and done the... Hey, we're in suits.
Hey, cool gamer guys and girls.
Here are sports things that you care about. Yeah, absolutely. Bro.
Hey, we're teaming up with Doritos and Mountain Dew.
And it was been so canned and so false, and everybody hated them for years because of that. There was so much vitriol, and so I've said that word 8 times. There was so much anger toward Microsoft for this. This past year, It was a dude in a t-shirt.
Same guy, Phil Spencer.
Right, Phil Spencer just came out, but like in casual clothes, and he said, "Hey, we've realized we've fallen short in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so here's what we've done to remedy it. We've bought these studios.
Ninja Theory is going to make us a cool game now.
Yeah, and so we're like, this is what we've done. So anyway, cool guy. Like,
Yeah.
and it was casual and it was friendly.
They didn't-
and they admitted that they weren't
Yes.
doing great, and here's how they're going to do better.
Right. Now, I mean, we're still almost a year gone.
And nothing much has happened.
I mean, this year's going to be their year, as
Every
they
year's
say
gonna
every
be
year.
yeah.
We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that was a little bit refreshing, where it just felt like, here's how we're trying to be better, guys.
Yes.
I know a lot of you like our system. We're trying to make it better.
So from the points of the creators, honesty and treating us like humans and not as consumers goes a long
Yes.
way. It really does. It can't just be your corporate statement.
Yes.
It can't just be your corporate announcement. Gamers are going to see through that so quick. So understand this relationship, be honest about it, and do something about it. Right now, another example, right now, Steam, with Epic buying up all their stuff and
Yep.
Epic calling them out a couple of times. Again, we talked about how it sounds more like ransom. Like Epic's like, we're going to hold
They
these
sent-
games until you pay the extra
note that they put
8%.
online was cut out magazine letters.
This 8% must be paid to devs. But the silence on Steam's part is also speaking a lot of words. Like for Gabe Newell to step up and just be like, hey, Steam has always lived on being an open source type thing.
Right.
And even if you just said, so we're just going to keep doing what we're doing.
That's what we do.
And we're just going to keep doing that. Something as simple and honest as that would really go a long way for them.
Right. Yeah, you have to recognize the relationship that exists. You might not like it. You might want to be some other company that makes a product, sends it out there, makes another product, sends it out there. That's not how it works. There has to be more of a relationship. You have to address people's concerns for what they're making. These are what pay the bills for you guys.
Right.
Like the audience, the community is what keeps you afloat.
Yeah.
So recognize that and do better. Like at
Yep.
the end of the day, do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from the consumer side, we can honor that relationship as well in when companies, and this is something that you and I have done before and try and do,
Yeah.
is when somebody's doing something good, give them your money.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's not something you really sure you're going to play a lot or really going to like,
Yeah.
don't just support the individual product, support the organization as well.
Right.
Support the relationship.
But at the same time, be honest about it.
Yeah.
So there's a big reason why we played and why Dez has played so much of The World Next Door. That is a local game company, Rose
Yes.
City Games. They are right down the road from us, basically.
Yep.
And we wanted to support this company that is in our. They also were doing some cool things with like diversity in the game that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And whatever. And it also looked fun to play. But at the same time, you are not shying away from saying, hey, there were some problems with this game. Like honesty at the end of the day is really what matters.
Absolutely.
To support people for the things you want to see, but don't then ignore the problems that those things have.
Right.
Like it's honesty. It's really what's necessary.
And be honest with the devs, but don't like scream.
Yes.
Here's another thing I will say. Like we already said, they know something's wrong.
Yes.
They know there's a problem.
Yes.
They're trying to fix it.
You're not the first one to tell them.
Right,
They probably knew about it already way back when.
They're probably actively trying to fix
Yeah.
it. Give them time.
Yes.
Be kind. There are human beings on the other side of this
Yeah.
that are working real hard and are trying to make the best product they can for you. Sometimes things just can't happen. Remember, we're working with computers here, and computers get real finicky, and software gets real finicky.
Or
and
money.
Yeah, money.
Watch No Clip just came out with a documentary about Telltale Games. And it's not about the story of Telltale. It's about the people who worked there and were affected by the sudden layoff. And all of a sudden, the 400 people who worked there, and it's stories from people who worked at Telltale. And it is a great documentary. Go watch it. But at the end of the day, it tells you, hey, they're actual people that do this.
Yes.
It's not just a boardroom. The boardroom was a big problem there,
Mm-hmm.
but there were people that were affected by this, and that's true for every single game that you've played, all the good ones, all the bad ones. So recognize that it's flawed because the people making it are flawed.
Right. And they're working hard. They're trying to do
doing
what they
their
can.
best.
So a whole lot of saying things like, hey, this is an issue. If you guys could work that, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Goes a lot farther than this game is stupid. Everything you make is stupid. You're stupid, and I hate you.
Yeah.
It really does.
I'm gonna get my opinion out there again. Review bombs don't do anything.
We're not talking about that.
Just
okay.
Hey, send them an email.
Yes. Review bombs do things.
Review bombs.
They work. Whether or not they should work, whether or not that's the way we should go about things.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Review bombs do something.
They do.
It's a petty way to go about it.
That is true. I'm not going to disagree with that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. But anything else you want to say about this relationship?
I'm good.
Okay. The reality is that there is a very unique relationship between gamers, the gaming community, between the creators and the consumers, and because of that, we should honor that and be different with that, but also recognize that it is still just a product.
Yeah.
There are two sides to that coin. So let us know what you guys think about this really unique relationship. Let us know what you think about Bethesda or Epic and Steam or Hello Games or anybody else who has either A, really honored that relationship, or B, really fallen flat with that relationship. Let us know your thoughts. We really appreciate that. We also appreciate your guys' support whenever you like, subscribe, or rate our podcast. It really, really helps us. So please, please share this. Let people know all about it. And always remember, saved games, save lives.
See you next week.